My final project, I would like to talk about diversity, design, and inclusion. For my research, I interviewed two well-respected designers in the field of design, Professor Patricia Childers and Stefan Sagmeister. Inclusion played a role in diversifying graphic design. Inclusion refers to the act or practice of including and accommodating people who have historically been excluded because of their race, gender, sexuality, or ability. Diversity is the practice or quality of including or involving people from a range of different social and ethnic backgrounds of different genders, sexual orientations, etc. Diversity in design is important because having a wide variety of perspectives at the table throughout the design process allows us to design more inclusive experiences for a broader audience. Diversity in design means diversity of experience, perspective, and creativity, otherwise known as diversity of thought, and these can be shaped by multiple factors including race, ethnicity, gender, age, sexual identity, ability, disability, and location, among others. It empowers designers to create products whose experiences serve as many people as possible. Diversity and inclusion are two interconnected concepts, but they are far from interchangeable.
I started in design, diversity was probably having some women there. Um, there were more men that were established than women. There were women in school, but not as many older women because women, I think, would have families and then not go back to work. So, and in terms of other diversity, racial diversity, no, not much at all.
When I was at Pratt, I studied at Pratt.
Yes.
And at that point, there was some, but not a lot of diversity. So basically, if you look at, I think if you look at the United States, it's roughly 25% people of color or black people, I think. And there were definitely not 25% people of color or black people at Pratt, 100% not.
Since its inception, design has been lacking diversity. At the beginning of the 19th century, designers wanted to create a different approach to design that stepped away from the Victorian era into a more unique and diverse approach to design. German architect Walter Gropius founded the Bauhaus in the city of Weimar. Its core aim was a radical concept to reimagine the material world to reflect the unity of all the arts. The Bauhaus combined elements of both fine arts and design education in a curriculum that studied materials, color theory, and formal relationships to prepare for a more specialized studies. Students came from a diverse range of social and educational backgrounds.
Yeah, I think that if number one, if we are as designers trying to communicate with a large group, we have to have diverse representation. We have to have diversity of people who have different experiences to be able to do that.
I think there should be more diversity everywhere, simply because it enriches life.
Okay.
I think I would say that there is a fairness part to the whole equation, and then there is an enrichment part for everybody. So yes.
As the design progressed from a modern era to a postmodern era, diversity slowly took form in the design community. Designers wanted more inclusiveness in their designs. The evolution towards inclusive design began in the 1950s with new attention to design for people with disabilities. In Europe, Japan, and the United States, barrier-free designs were developed to remove obstacles in the built environment for people with physical disabilities. Diversity in design started when workplace diversity training first emerged in the mid-1960s following the introduction of equal employment laws and affirmative action. Before this, many companies had known histories of racial discrimination.
The design community is becoming more inclusive slowly. Part of that is the diversity of students that will become the next generation, and it will be much more diverse. But I think it makes it, number one, it brings a much different perspective where our idea of what design can do has increased dramatically since we've started to hear from other diverse opinions.
Yes, it would if it would be happening, but right now I don't think, like as we talk today, I don't think that the the various races are adequately represented in design.
Designers wanted to use different styles to help them diversify the design community. Using semiotic language, signs, and symbols can represent diversity. Designers can get their message across to a more diverse audience. For example, culture jamming appropriates contemporary signs to make a statement to a wider audience, playing with the branded images and icons of consumer culture to make consumers aware of surrounding problems and diverse cultural experiences that warrant their attention. When designers take a more diverse approach to design that embodies society, they speak to society.
Yeah, I think it has, because I think that as more diverse communities can see themselves in the work and see themselves reflected through professors or designers, they can picture themselves in that position and feel like they can join and become a part of that.
That design has inspired more diversity?
Yeah.
No, since there is far too little diversity, obviously design has not inspired that.
Okay. Overall, diversity and inclusion in design can encourage greater understanding between different user groups, contributing to a better experience for everyone. Inclusion with diversity in design is not only about making sure that designers of color have equal opportunities to succeed professionally, it's also about driving greater innovation and creativity within our field by sourcing a wide range of talent. In short, a more diverse industry is significant for all of us because it brings new ideas and reduces homogeneity in design.
I think what we're doing right now by encouraging more diverse communities to go to school and to join, I think also reevaluating actually what design is. It was so limited in the past, and of course with social media it can become much larger. But you know, is a sign painter a designer? Is someone that's self-taught can be a designer? In the past, maybe the definition of graphic design was very limited. It's expanded now for the benefit of everyone because it's you know, design is a way of thinking, and the more we can incorporate that into solving problems, communicating, making life great, the better for everyone.
Well, as I said, I think it would have to start much earlier.
Okay.
Like my sort of like easy attempt to basically join the admissions committee at the School of Visual Arts did not really bear significant fruit.
Okay.
And now I think that there is some efforts, and I know that Pentagram is kind of behind it. I know that Paula Scheer and some other partners at Pentagram are making an effort to basically have to basically look at schools much younger. But I would think you, like, for some real detail there, you would have to talk to them yourself. Yeah.
So, in conclusion, inclusion is necessary for diversifying the design community. It has fostered change, promoted cultural diversity, and changed our mindset of how we look and see things. Inclusion supports a full range of human diversity. It aims to accommodate those diverse experiences. Having diversity and inclusion will improve the balance of opinion and views in any setting. A well-balanced world will accept different opinions and reduce fears of differences. We live in a very diverse society, and inclusion is important for us to continue to grow as a society.